is the knowledge we have lost in information? So again, it's a question he's asking. Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? So let that kind of sink in for a second, because this is a theme that we're probably going to be returning to throughout this conversation today. So there's two words here that stick out: knowledge and information. So knowledge is defined by the Oxford English Dictionary as acts, informations, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. Whereas information is facts provided or learned about something or someone. So we definitely live in an information age. The internet is just a repository of information. I mean, there is so much information available to us now that it's overwhelming. I'm sure we've all felt that from time to time, where we're researching something, we're looking into something, and we're just met with what seems to be endless amounts of information, and it's exhausting. And could you imagine, and I'm sure many of you can, because there's so many service providers here, or even the folks here that aren't service providers but have loved ones or friends. Imagine somebody who has certain limitations, or somebody who doesn't quite know how to use the internet, or somebody who has any difficulty under the sun, being flooded with information while they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent this month. And I'm sure this is something, especially with service providers, something we've heard of. I mean, this is a problem that's common and is becoming more and more common. But as service providers, I think we tend to go toward knowledge. I think we like to educate people. We don't like to just give somebody a sheet of paper, though sometimes it's very easy to give somebody a sheet of paper with some phone numbers on it and say, here's a lot of, here's some agencies, give them a call, maybe one of them will help you. I mean, that's just handing some information to them. And that's also handing them a very unpleasant task of calling through and trying to figure this out while they're already experiencing stress or trauma or anything else that would make it very difficult. I think as service providers, again, we like to deal with knowledge. We like to educate. We like to, we like to have a theoretical understanding of what it is we're giving to our clients, what it is we're giving to these people who are asking for help, who need assistance. I think the ultimate goal of a service provider, and you can disagree with this, that's totally fine, but I think the ultimate goal comes down to empowerment. We want to empower people, and empowerment meaning the authority or power given to someone to do something. So think about that for a minute. Authority or power given to someone to do something. Think of the people that you're helping. Think of the people that are coming to you for assistance. They often feel powerless. They often feel like they have no authority, not even over their own lives, especially, think back to Paul's lecture. It was, a lot of people in abusive situations feel powerless. They feel like they don't have any authority over themselves. And when we give knowledge, when we give something to somebody that allows them to see another way, to see a path forward, that's empowerment. They begin to see, oh, I have authority, I have power. This knowledge that has just been given to me allows me to act. And there's actually another part of the definition of empowerment that I love. It says the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. And it would be very difficult to begin that process, because it is a process. It would be very difficult to engage in the process of empowerment if all you're given is information. So move forward here. So today, I'm hoping that when we leave, that you will have knowledge of Utah 211, you'll have knowledge of how Utah 211 empowers individuals and families, and knowledge of the resources available to support the aging population and persons with disabilities. That's what I'm hoping that we'll be able to walk away with today. Not just information, so that's sometimes very easy to do. So this is the mission of 211. Of course, to inform decisions, build connections, empower Utah. Again, going back to inform and connect. And the mission statement of 211, it is the recipe of, part of the recipe of empowerment. Inform, connect, and of course, empower is in there. So our vision is a 211 system that helps ensure every person in the state has their basic needs met. And that means every person. There is something for everybody in 211, no matter where you are in life, whatever your struggles are. Our network is so large and covers so much geography that there is a community provider who has something for you no matter what struggle you're going through. And we'll get more into that as we go on, but especially for the aging population. So and these are going to include shelter, clothing, food, access to appropriate healthcare, and personal safety. Let's see here. So again, I kind of touched on this on the last slide, but who we serve, people who we help, people who need help, people who help people who need help, and people who make policy and give funding for services used by people who need help. So, I mean, really, this is saying we help everybody. And one thing, and speaking directly to the service providers here, something that is often misunderstood about 211 or looked over is that we help people. We help people who are helping other people. We help service providers in many ways. So, I mean, this is something that that can really help your organization. I mean, we can provide a lot of very relevant data that would be very helpful to any kind of organization in understanding the populations that they're helping. And this comes to, because we are also part of United Way, and we're constantly doing research in our communities. We're constantly working with community partners to learn more about our community and our community's needs. So 211 and United Way, of course, it's not just Utah, but this kind of gives you an image of our coverage. You don't need to worry. It's not one call center or one server that's handling everything. This is the beauty of 211 and United Way, is it's broken down essentially by chapters. So the information that you're getting is relevant to a certain geospatial or a location. So if you're calling in to Utah, if you're in Utah and you're calling from Utah to get help from a service in Utah, you're going to speak with somebody from Utah who knows about the services that you're asking for. So this is what's included in the Utah 211 database. 2,945 providers offering 9,770 services. So, I mean, you think about the state in geographic terms. There is, 2,945 providers offering 9,770 services. there is seriously a community organization offering something for pretty much almost everybody who needs something. And this is what's really great about Utah. And I think if you've spent time here, if you're from here, you know that in Utah, we have a very active community. There are many, many people who want to help the community. We're a community of community builders, you might say. So there are a lot of organizations out there looking to do good. And 211 is here to really help you connect to that right provider or multiple providers so you can get the services you need. So our calls are, it's free, it's confidential, 24/7, local resources in one location, services in over 200 languages. We do follow up with clients. We do closed loop referrals, that's our goal. And this is one thing that's really, really great. Again, going back to that dynamic of knowledge and information, when you call into our call center, we're not just going to give you a list of some people that might be relevant. We'll do a warm transfer to the resource. We'll call them up with you on the line. And all of us work together just to make sure that the user of the service feels comfortable with what they're about to, with the service they're about to connect with, that they feel fully educated or educated enough to continue on. And that's that can be a very meaningful service. Again, talking directly to our service providers here, when you're speaking with somebody or dealing with somebody who is in a crisis situation or has experienced trauma or for any reason is just having a very, very difficult time, that warm transfer is essential. I mean, just handing somebody off who has experienced trauma or is in crisis and just saying, hey, trust this person you don't know and bye, click, that doesn't work so well. I mean, you're really putting somebody in a very vulnerable situation, in even more of a vulnerable situation at that point. But with that warm transfer, it begins to add to that empowerment. It begins that process of empowerment. Like in a way, it's telling them, you have this. We're here with you. You have this. So there's database and inclusivity. We include government services, nonprofits, specialized services, faith-based, sliding scale, and substance abuse and opioid awareness. And this is what our webpage looks like. And I'm actually gonna, in a moment here, I'm gonna take us through the website just to show you how you can narrow down those many, many services that are available and how you can really pinpoint it to your to the needs of your client or the needs of the person in which you're helping. So it allows you to search by zip code or county, search by category. The search by category comes in hand, and you'll really begin to see this as we start looking at some of the services for the aging population. Basic contact information. Now, you don't need to put in that information if you have a client who is feeling hesitant to do that. That's optional. This does help us though, and going back to that, going back to the service that we provide to service providers of data, some of that data that we would get, the locational data, does help out in providing certain data for providers who are requesting certain data regarding a geographical location, and we'll get more into that as well. And also, again, you have options to print, email, or text the information. Again, this isn't the phone line, of course. This is the online interface. So if you're not the most tech savvy person, or if the person you're helping, if using the internet is out of the question, of course, we have the 24/7 phone line. Also, we have an app. Again, 211 is for everybody. So, I mean, I keep this app on my phone. I would recommend anybody put this app on their phone. I mean, it can really be a very valuable tool, whether you're in a pinch or whether you're experiencing crisis and you need some services. So again, it's very similar to the our webpage. So continue on through here. These are some of the projects that Utah 211 specifically doing right now. We do it's a partnership, Ride United. It's providing rides to those who meet certain qualifications. Part of it is providing rides to, in some places, providing rides to COVID vaccine appointments and so forth. More information on our website, and I'll show you where you can read up on that. Mobility management, last mile delivery. This is, again, working with delivery services to provide meals to people who are unable to, the food box or meals on their own. So deliver straight to their door. Substance use disorder helpline, and a warm connection to uni. That is a very valuable service to anybody who has worked with a client who you needed to refer to uni or assist them as they make that process to get to uni. That can be a very delicate and an emotional moment, and that warm connection to uni really is incredibly helpful. Let's see here. So again, as I kind of mentioned earlier, there's pretty much something for everything in 211. Some of our main ones are issues regarding healthcare, housing and utilities, and food. And of course, these are very common. These are very common needs among the aging population. I'll show you this here. In fact, this is from our data here. So these are needs that were pulled based on those who answered yes to being 60 years or older and having a documented disability. So this is kind of a snapshot of what people in that age range are asking for when they call in. Housing is a big one. Utility assistance, food, meals, healthcare, consumer and public safety services. I mean, if you read through this list and think about what we just learned from our keynote speaker, I mean, some of these really make sense why they're, they're in the order that they're in. But it's not just, if you look here, I mean, there's also arts, culture, and recreation. And there are other services that, I mean, they don't necessarily have to be crisis services or services in response to crisis or difficulty or something like that. It can also be calling to find out how they get engaged. And this is, I mean, again, speaking to the service providers, this is a big issue, getting getting clients, especially clients who are of the aging population, to linked up with the right services who can get them engaged with community, with arts, culture, and recreation. That is incredibly important to anybody. And I mean, when you think of the level of isolation that the aging population are often met with, so I just got a little notice here. They're often met with. I mean, this is something that is very, very valuable. Let's see here. Okay, so here are, oops. Again, this is for people 60 and over, and this is our referral counts. This is just kind of a graph of what we're looking at here of our calls. Well, and just people seeking assistance from 211. Again, housing, it is by and far the largest issue, and it's something that we're prepared to provide that knowledge to the person calling in. Let's see.
We're going to reopen the rooms. My apologies. I didn't realize that countdown was so quick. Let's go for it again. All right. Back to your rooms.
Sorry about that. Looks like we were having a technical issue. I had this countdown happening saying I only had 33 seconds left, and I thought there is no way that I have been talking for an hour. If I have, then there's something wrong with me. So I'm glad to see that it was a technical error. Let's see. Let's see. Jill, are you here?
Yes, here I am.
Okay. Okay. Let's wait.
It looks like we have about 20 participants back. So.
Okay. And what was the number before that?
It was around 24.
Okay. Let's wait just about 30 more seconds and we'll move forward. I'll just pull up my slides again. So,
thanks everyone for your patience.
Yeah. Okay. Wait 5 more seconds here and begin. Okay, so I'm going to back up here because when I saw the remaining time was only 33 seconds, I started speeding up because I thought that I had been talking for an hour. So anyway, turns out it only been 30 minutes. So here is kind of a snapshot of our referral count. And these referrals were pulled based on those who answered yes to being 60 years old or older or having a documented disability from May 1st, 2020 to May 1st, 2021. So this is very recent data. If you again look at the order of these, I mean, though individual, family, and community support is the bottom of these 5, that's still the number is very high for that. So that's still very much a relevant need. 1 second here. And again, housing, and this is something that's, I mean, we had a rough road ahead before COVID, and COVID definitely isn't going to make things easier with housing. But again, these are all things that our 211 resource center, our call center, our and online, we're prepared to meet. We're prepared to meet that demand and provide not just information, but hopefully give you knowledge, usable knowledge that can, begin the process of empowerment. So this is referrals that were pulled based on those who answered yes to being 60 years old or older or having a documented disability from May 1st, 2020 to May 1st, 2021. So let's look over this for a minute here. So again, I mean, this is, these numbers are, especially with housing, when you see the actual raw numbers there, that is a huge need among the aging population. So, and we're gonna look at the website and kind of go through that and talk about housing there too. But I'm interested to know, and we'll open this up for discussion in just a moment, but I'm interested to know how housing has affected each of you as service providers. Feel free to use the chat box right now. I'll answer it as soon as I can, but really, when you look at that number in housing, that's a staggering number of people 60 years or older needing some type of assistance or help with housing. And that can be a very terrifying situation, especially if you're somebody who's never experienced homelessness before. You've gone through your whole life being able to pay rent, have a house payment. Now that you're on a fixed income, maybe it's a little more difficult with the rise in the rise in the cost of housing, rent, and then on top of that, balancing your fixed income with other health expenses. This is a very serious issue. So I'm curious to learn from you all how you're handling this. But again, 211 is prepared to provide knowledge and information on this. So this is a question that was emailed, and I'm going to let you all read this for a moment, and you all as professionals, and again, even if you are not a service provider, take a look at this, and I want you to think, how would you go about handling this situation? Just go ahead and think about it. If you can think of even a service provider that you would go to, go ahead and type it into the chat box. If not, that's fine too. But just think about this for a second. What this person is asking. And I'm going to pull up our website real quick. I'm going to make a couple notes first, and we'll kind of navigate through the website using this situation here. Let's see.
We had a question of wondering if people could get a copy of this presentation.
I know it's being recorded. We probably want to speak with maybe Rob or one of the coordinators of the event, and see what we can do to get this for you. But I think I think we'd be able to accommodate that.
And maybe also there is a email, maybe getting just a copy of your PowerPoint that you could email to someone would be helpful too.
Absolutely. In fact, feel free to leave your emails in the or your contact information in the chat, and I will. I'd be happy to send out information to you. I'd be happy to send out the PowerPoint to you as well, and chat with you as well. If you have any questions and just want to talk to me, please leave your information in the chat box. I'll put mine in there before the end, and you feel free to reach out to me. In fact, hold on one second. Let me just throw that in right now. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
There's also one question that someone said, the waiting lists are years long. There is no emergency housing available for elderly or disabled adults. Maybe you saw that already.
Yes, and so I am aware of the waiting lists. Having worked in housing, in homeless services, I mean, it can be very discouraging. But here's something to understand too with waiting lists and housing. You can be on more than one waiting list at one time. Usually when people talk of a waiting list, they're talking about either the Section 8 waiting list or excuse me, hold on. Sorry, I apologize. Oftentimes they're talking about the Section 8 waiting list, which is I mean, usually managed through Housing Connect. It used to be the County Housing Authority. But there are also other housing programs and other housers that you can get on their waiting list. A really good one for the aging population, because they have housing specific to age, is Utah Nonprofit Housing Corporation. Again, given the climate with housing, unfortunately, wait lists are just increasing. It's hard to find housing that doesn't have a wait list. However, by getting yourself on more and more wait lists, you're increasing your chances of something coming up quick. So again, if you're on the Section 8 wait list through Housing Connect or the Housing Authority, you can be on other wait lists. You can be on as many wait lists as you want. It definitely be worth your while. I mean, if housing is needed, is to just apply, and most of them are online now, and that's good for some people and very difficult for other people. But you can get on many wait lists just by going to the website, or if you're working with a client, you can help them fill out paperwork. You can download it from the housing provider's website. I can get more specific too if you want to email me regarding some of the housing that you've been looking at. I'd be happy to help with that. But again, this is very helpful to know. You can get on as many housing waiting lists as you want, and I'd recommend it. And let's see here. You know what? We have about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to hurry in. Oh, okay. We've got another question here. I want to hurry and see this one. Okay, oh, great. Okay. So if you're not looking at the chat box, there was a very, very helpful post that was just put there right now. So thank you, Christine. That's very helpful. Awesome. Thank you. And really, if you have any suggestions, anything, I mean, we're all providers here, so we can help each other out. Please don't feel shy. Post what you'd like to post, okay? I'm going to hurry and pull up our website real quick here. Let's see. Okay, so okay, hold on here. Okay, so I'm going to go down. So this is kind of, there's some screens in my way.
Yeah, kid. You sit here. Come on, sit. Mommy wants you to sit. Sit. Lucy, sit. 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 No, sit. Down. Come on, lay down. Lucy, sit. Sit. Good girl, sit.
I think your microphone is on.
Sit. Sit. Lucy, sit. 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 Lucy, sit.
We need to make sure that we're on mute if you can, unless you're going to be speaking. Thank you.
Sit.
Okay, so if you go to 211utah.org and just scroll down, you can, it'll take you to these, I mean, you'll have an option to put in, if you want to choose by zip or search by zip code or by your county. I generally like to do this, and this is what I did too. So I used 211 a lot when I was a case manager, and this is something that is very helpful. 211 has updated their website, and this specific populations, this can be really helpful because again, there are so many service providers in this network. Sometimes it can take a second to weave through what's available. But really, if you know the population you're working with, which in this situation and on account of it, you know, if we're talking about elder abuse, we pretty much know the population we're working with. So specific populations, senior supportive services. You click on that, it's going to bring you here, where it's going to give you first a statewide snapshot of services for that specific population. As you can see, there's 133 available. Well, let's say we want to narrow it down to Salt Lake County. Let's do add a zip code. Go. Let's do it. Sorry, let's see. Actually, I'm going to change this. I'm thinking back to the email, and the person who sent that in was worried that their neighbor was suffering from dementia. So I'm going to put in here, under any of these words, I'm going to put in dementia, so I can see what services are available to help people who are suffering from dementia. And okay, we have 2 results here. And we have Memory Matters Utah, and we have Jewish Family Services. Now this, just because there's 2 results here because I put in the word dementia doesn't mean there aren't other services that are helpful. Again, you would want to play around with that filter and maybe put in the word Alzheimer's or aging population, any word that you think would be relevant to the client or population you're helping. I'm going to go with Jewish Family Services. I've actually worked with them before in the past. And this is really neat. So let's say we're just figuring out that we're just coming to this and the first time we've seen Jewish Family Services. Right up front, it kind of gives us a quick snapshot of what we're looking at, who they help: adolescent, youth counseling, caregiving, caregiver counseling, dementia management. Now that is very specific to what we need. So let's take a look inside here. Or actually, we can read more here. It'll give you more of a snapshot of what they do. So let's find dementia management. What do they mean by that? A music and memory program. Now that's really cool. So again, this may not be as helpful for the situation that was emailed, but for future reference for clients who are suffering from dementia and are also, you're worried that they're isolated, this is a really great service. A music program for those with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. I mean, you're getting them out. It's a type of therapy. And also, you're going down, if you go down through here, again, it is a sliding scale. So you'd be working with their team to determine the fee. So you have more information here. And then you can go to the website as well to get more information. There's a phone number. So again, the website is incredibly helpful, especially for service providers, because it gives you tons of information about a service that you're potentially going to recommend to a client or a population. Also, I want to hurry and bring this up real quick. Another great resource is, let's see, there we go. The Utah Commission on Aging. Again, this is another place where you can get, and you can do things like advanced care planning. Pull this up too. There's a quicker way to get there than that website. It is just utahaging.org. It'll take you here. I want to leave the last 5 minutes for questions. So let me hurry and close this out. And feel free to add any questions into the chat box. Again, we have 5 minutes. I believe it'll automatically kick us out in 5 minutes.
Well, and we need about 2 minutes at the end for a closing, for sure.
That's right. Okay, so maybe if I have time for maybe like 1 or 2 questions. And also keep in mind too, I posted my email there. Feel free to email me. Really, today was the tip of the iceberg. I'd be happy to go into greater detail with the services that 211 provides. Also, if you're a service provider and you're curious about doing any types of partnerships with 211, I'd be happy to talk with you about that as well. Really though, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you.
I think we can maybe go ahead. It looks like there's not a lot of questions, but please know that you can reach Nick if you need to at his email. He has lots of resources and information, if you can see. But now we just have a closing thought, and I'll just going to share our screen and I will share that thought with all of you. And thanks so much for joining us. And thanks so much, Nick, for all your information and resources.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you all for everything you do for our community.
Thank you for taking time to attend the Elder Abuse Conference. I appreciate your support and dedication to addressing this critical public health issue. Older adults often blame themselves when abuse occurs, resulting in shame and silence, which makes your awareness and involvement all the more important. If you have reason to believe that an older adult has been the subject of abuse, neglect, or exploitation, please contact Adult Protective Services at 1-800-371-7897 or contact the nearest law enforcement agency. It's imperative that we all work together to increase awareness and reduce mistreatment of vulnerable Utahns.